The Monaco Grand Prix didn't quite unfold the way Lewis Hamilton might have hoped. During the race, there was a tense moment between him and his race engineer, Riccardo Adami, showing that they are still figuring out how to work best together. Meanwhile, Ferrari's game plan once again fell short of expectations. After the race, Hamilton's comments left many wondering if he's truly comfortable with the team now. The big question is, what should we expect from Hamilton in Ferrari moving forward? More importantly, is he finally opening up about the frustration that's been building inside him since the first race of the season? It's clear that Hamilton left Monaco feeling unhappy, not because of his final position, but because communication between him and his engineer was lacking. Saturday's qualifying was surprising. He managed to secure fourth on the grid. However, a three-place penalty already affected his chances for the race. Once the lights went out, Hamilton got past Hajar and Alonso and thought he could challenge Verstappen for fourth place. But that never really materialized. The gap between Hamilton and the front-runners was over 40 seconds, and that seemed to cause him some frustration during the race, especially in his exchanges with his engineer. When asked after the race if he understood where the time difference was coming from, Hamilton's answer was straightforward. He didn't. Even when pressed for more details, his responses were short and calm, showing he didn't have a clear explanation for the slow pace, or whether strategy mistakes had been made. Hamilton described the race itself as a strange experience. He said he felt lost on track, caught in a situation where he wasn't really racing anyone. Starting seventh after his penalty, he found himself behind two cars initially, then passed them, but ended up isolated on track without any close battles. He needed something like a safety car to shake things up, but it never came. After that, the race became pretty simple, but that wasn't the main problem for Hamilton. The main issue for Hamilton was the unclear instructions he received from his race engineer. At one point, Riccardo Adami told him, "Push now. This is our race." But Hamilton wasn't sure what that even meant. Was he supposed to catch Verstappen and fight for fourth place? The message didn't sit well with him because it wasn't clear what the target was. Hamilton later explained that the information he got was confusing. He didn't really understand the phrase, "This is our race." He wasn't sure if he was supposed to be competing for the next position ahead. Looking at the data after the race, he realized he wasn't close to anyone in front of him. He had already used a lot of his tire life trying to keep up, but the gap was too big. Towards the end of the race, Hamilton asked Adami, "Are you upset with me or something?" This question sparked a lot of discussion among experts, with some wondering if Hamilton might have made mistakes during the race, while others thought the tension came from miscommunication. Considering the new rules and what happened in Monaco, finishing fifth but still being 40 seconds behind the leaders raises questions. It's understandable that Hamilton would want answers. On the other hand, Ferrari's team principal, Fred Vasseur, argued that there's no need to make a big deal out of the situation. He explained that engineers often choose specific parts of the track to talk to drivers, places where they believe the drivers face the least pressure. That's why sometimes it might seem like the engineer is quiet or not responding right away. Vasseur also pointed out that it's normal for drivers to feel tense when they're racing at high speeds with walls close on either side. When he spoke with Hamilton after the race, the driver wasn't angry or upset. Still, the tension between Hamilton and Adami was clear, especially since a similar situation happened earlier in Miami. This ongoing friction between Hamilton and his race engineer could become a problem for the team. If these two can't get on the same page, it might affect their overall performance. Other teams could take advantage of this weakness, which is the last thing Ferrari needs right now. Monaco was an unusual race in many ways. Normally, teammates try to support each other, but Hamilton didn't get much help. In fact, he was lucky to avoid being caught up in any team tactics that might have slowed him down. Despite finishing fifth, Hamilton was quite far behind the top four drivers. While fifth place isn't bad, and it marks his second race in a row finishing in the top five, It also shows that he still has some ground to cover. On the other hand, Charles Leclerc showed strong performance in Monaco, finishing second, which highlights his growing influence within the team. It's clear that Leclerc is now the leading driver at Ferrari. This could mean the team's focus will increasingly shift towards supporting him, especially since he is currently leading the championship standings. A tough weekend like Monaco can shake a driver's confidence, especially with more traditional circuits coming up next. Hamilton currently sits sixth in the driver's standings, trailing by 16 points. However, there's a concerning fact fans can't ignore. Hamilton has yet to stand on the podium or win a race this season. He has managed 2 podium finishes but no victories, and he's 20 points behind his teammate George Russell. This raises questions about Ferrari's earlier statement that they might need to prioritize one driver over the other during the season. Originally, Ferrari's idea behind possibly favoring one driver was based on the hope that both drivers could compete for the championship, but that scenario feels distant at this point in the season. Now, everyone is watching closely to see how the upcoming Barcelona race will shake things up, especially with new technical rules expected to level the playing field. For Hamilton, the Monaco GP was especially challenging because he came in with more confidence compared to others. In contrast, Leclerc mentioned that simply making it into Q3 would have been a win for him. Leclerc ended up qualifying very well, just a tenth of a second shy of pole position on Saturday, while Hamilton was fourth fastest. Speaking after the race, Leclerc admitted he wasn't fully satisfied with the result, but he recognized that Lando Norris did a better job and deserved the win. Hamilton, meanwhile, reflected on his season so far and the challenges ahead. He mentioned that last year he achieved a childhood dream, but this season has been more difficult. Still, he acknowledged that reaching the top 5 in Monaco was better than expected, as he initially thought just finishing in the top 10 would be tough. Overall, it was a decent weekend for Hamilton, but clearly not the one he hoped for. With Monaco behind them, Ferrari now has to focus on fixing what's not working, especially the communication problems between Hamilton and his race engineer. The way Hamilton and Adami handled communication during the race is a serious concern. You can't have arguments or confusion in the middle of a race, especially between a driver and the person he trusts most. Asking your engineer if they are upset with you during the race is not a good sign. At the same time, silence or lack of clear messages isn't acceptable either. Drivers need clear guidance, like a simple, "We'll discuss this after the race. Good job out there." That kind of communication builds trust and helps keep focus. Right now, this situation hints that something isn't quite right inside Ferrari's garage. If they don't fix this quickly, the tension between Hamilton and Adami might get worse, which could affect the team's results on track. Looking ahead, the Barcelona race is just around the corner. Ferrari hopes to be among the top 3 teams regularly and challenge the likes of Red Bull and McLaren more often. If the new technical rules slow down the McLaren and Red Bull cars as expected, Ferrari could become a major contender again. But the big question is, who will lead the team when it counts most? Right now, the uneasy relationship between Hamilton and his race engineer suggests that Leclerc might take the lead role within Ferrari when it really matters. If that happens, Hamilton is unlikely to accept being second fiddle without a fight. If he can find more speed in the car, things could get very interesting in the races ahead. So, what do you think about the exchanges on the radio between Hamilton and Adami? Could this tension develop into something bigger for Ferrari? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, don't forget to check out the video on your screen right now. It's got more analysis and updates you won't want to miss. Thanks for watching.